Thank you for tuning in to NSUSpartans.com, as today we have our weekly interview with Spartan football coach Pete Adrian. Spartans, of course, coming off a very difficult 37-36 overtime loss to Howard last Saturday. And Coach, you got behind a little early in the ball game, obviously 20-0 at the half. Was the first half just sort of a classic case of anything that could go wrong from the team that seemed to go wrong?
Well, it did, and I mean, first of all, you can't jump off sides 5 times on third down and 5 or less like we did in a row, and just keep their offense on the field. I mean, we really made it, I don't want to say easy for them, but let's say convenient for them to keep the drive going. And, you know, we just haven't done that. And for that to happen, you just shake your head because, you know, the kids are knowing it. And they're going on a hard count, but everybody goes on a hard count. And I think we were just a little too anxious in that situation like that. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, the first half on both sides of the ball wasn't really good. And we went at halftime, and really what we said to the players was we're going to find out what type of football team we have. We're either going to play like champions or we're going to fold. And, you know, we came out in the second half and actually fell behind 30-7, and I think we showed our character to be able to come back and rally and tie it up at the end of the ball game for 30-30. And then, of course, you lose in overtime, which is an extremely tough way to take it. But very proud of the way our players responded, and our kids were very positive yesterday in practice because they realize how good they can be if they play 60 minutes of football.
The second half, almost a complete reverse of the first. Your defense allowed something like 100 total yards against Howard, and your offense really opened up. Your passing game, Nico Flores, definitely his best game as a Spartan. What was the difference for Nico in the second half?
Well, I think he had a little time to throw, had a little confidence. You know, anytime he can take off and run a few times, it gets him going. And you know, the receivers did a good job of catching. You know, people forget, I think it was 4 times in the first half we dropped balls at his in the hands that were all first downs, and that's all part of executing. We didn't drop it in the second half.
It's really the first time you've gotten to see Nico under fire in a sense of he had to really, the game sort of rested on his shoulders, on his arm. 4 touchdown passes in the second half, and was able to drive the team down the field as well for that tying field goal in regulation.
Well, and I don't think there was any play bigger than I think in that drive we had a 4th and 10. And he had to scramble a little bit, and he found the open guy and gave him a ball to catch and away to go. You know, and of course, also in that drive, if they don't get a foot tackle on Hawkins, it's a touchdown. And we win the game in regulation. I mean, but that's part of the ball game.
Your receivers, sort of collectively as a unit, had breakout games as well. We saw Xavier Boyce with 7 catches, Derek Dimps over 100 yards, and Joe Hawkins, as you said, had a really nice game as well at tight end. I know that was nice for you to see them break out like that.
Well, it's going to help us. Of course, we still got to do a better job of running the football, but then we also got to realize they were stacking against the run. I mean, in the first half, they have a 9-man front, so you got to force the throw. And I think in the second half, we threw for about 300 yards. So I mean, that's an awful big half for anybody to throw.
Obviously, the blocked extra point was what ended the game there in overtime. It's been a bit of a bugaboo for your team the first few games. What are you going to try to do to try to correct that problem?
Well, I'll try exactly what we're going to do. You know, we had our wing block out instead of blocking down, and the inside guy came in and blocked the kick, and really tough to take. You know, the guy did a nice job the first few kicks. Goldberg made his kicks, and then we blocked out. I guess it's the excitement of the thing or just lack of concentration, but we didn't touch the inside guy, and he didn't even have to jump to block the kick.
I know special teams is probably a thing a lot of fans tend to take for granted a little bit, especially when things looked as easy as they did last year at times for Ryan Estep. But obviously, you could see there how the game sort of changed on special teams also with the kickoff return that Howard had in the second half.
Yeah, I thought the kickoff return really hurt us at that time. I mean, we just scored. We made it 23-7. You got some momentum, and kickoff team's been doing a pretty good job. And you know, the kid ran it back. He brought it out of the end zone 6 yards deep, went 106 yards. And I don't know if we ever touched him. He weaved through us a few times like that. And so when that made it 30-7, that was really where I thought the character of our football team showed. Because at that time, we could have just folded. Instead of folding, we came back and tied the football game. So I had a lot of respect for what we did.
Talk about the character of your team a little bit. Now they're certainly in a difficult situation going up against a tough Ohio team, FBS team that's 3-0 on the road this Saturday. What's your team's mindset, and how do you think they'll respond to this week of practice?
Well, you know, practice yesterday are very positive, and they understand it. We also explained to them that this is by far the best team we've played of any of the 5 teams we've played because they're such a physical football team. You know, they like to run the ball right at you. Frank Solich, who was the coach at Nebraska, had success in Nebraska, you know, won 10 games a year. He's running the same type of offense. So this is no place for women and children this weekend. And if you don't play physical football, you're going to get rolled over. And anybody can go into Penn State and beat Penn State at Penn State and put 300 yards on them in the second half. You know, open your eyes up and see what's there. So this is a big challenge. I mean, a big offensive line. The fullback is the tailback's really good. He really runs hard. The receivers are good, and they've got an excellent quarterback. That so far in 3 games, I think they have 1 sack because nobody can catch the kid. He's very elusive, and he runs the football team very, very well. Defensively, they're really solid. So we're going to have to play the best game we've played in a long time.
Nonetheless, certainly not a situation that your team is unfamiliar with, having played several FBS teams in years past. This will be number 5 for your team in the last 6 years. So how do you feel your team will respond in being in that environment, having been there before?
Well, they're going to be really excited about it. You know, and anytime you play up, you always want to see what you're going to do. And I think they're going to be a little angry because we let a game get away. So we should go up there and hopefully we can start where we left off in this last ball game.
And on a bit of a personal note for you, obviously last year you got to play against your alma mater, West Virginia. Now this year you're playing just a couple hours from your hometown in Ohio. Special day for you, I assume, coming up this Saturday as well.
Well, there'll be a few people there, but most people in my hometown have left because it was an old mill town. They shut all the mills down, so I don't know who's going to show up, but there'll be quite a few people there, yes.
All right, Coach, well, we wish you good luck this Saturday. And for any fans that can't make it to Athens, Ohio to see the Spartans take on Ohio University this Saturday, as a reminder, you can listen to the game on 102.1 FM The Game here in Hampton Roads, as well as online at 1021fmthegame.com. For more information on Spartan football, visit our website, nsuspartans.com.